problems that we're facing, ecological and social, right now in the world, are dramatically worse than they were ever in history. One of our biggest problems to create this change, this citizen movement that we're talking about globally, is the enabling environment in all of these countries where civil society exists.
The civil society does not have a united space of discourse. The NGO world often is very disconnected from the social movement side and the other way around.
For us at the grassroots, we believe that there is a big disconnect. Getting our voices to the table has been a very difficult task.
It became clearer to me how our best efforts often end up co-opted by the dominant logic. That the ongoing professionalization and bureaucratization of counterculture means that our voices are losing their subversive edges and tones. We are learning slowly that the system endorses its own critique, that the more assiduously we resist the empire, the more like the empire we become.
That in fact, some of those of us who work in organized civil society may well be becoming part of the problem.
What we have today is an activism that is ideologically sterile. We live in this system that has been built on that myth, that assumption, that all we need to do is take care of ourselves and the world is just a resource. All we need to do is use that for our own ends.
Because if we do not stop challenging the system, nothing's going to change.
Because we are active conspirators with and participants in a system that we resist, where we're realizing that our theories of change need to change.
We cannot simply continue to depend on that paradigm of resistance singularly.
We want to move and shift the centers of power to the centers which are the people.
How do we stop trading in incremental change and start achieving the systemic change that we all want to see in the world?
We must question the old ways of doing things, and the old ways of doing things is a mental structure. We have to think differently.
Civil society movements are the most important aspect of being human and humane. If we don't do that, we have lost our humanity.
The idea that we have of what leadership looks like is all wrong.
We are supposed to be what we preach. Not easy, huh? We are supposed to really behave accordingly of what we say and what we aim.
We need a paradigm of renewal. So I believe we need a meta movement, some sort of coalition between many aspects of this shift, because none of us will save the day alone. A translocal alliance that connects people's wisdoms is what we need today.
I think it really helped for me to reinforce the need to connect with different kinds of movements and different kinds of spaces. So it's about how we connect across different organisations and movements, kind of breaking out of our silos to understand the need for systemic transformation, not only at the political level, but at the organisational level and at the personal level. I think what I've learned or reinforced perhaps in my understanding is the need to make sure that we are really challenging ourselves to form a new kind of activism, a new kind of movement, to perhaps put less emphasis on the institutional engagement, which has really typified our work to date, into more transformative movement spaces.
Well, I think the global citizen movement definitely is something that now everyone is wanting to happen. And I think what this conference is doing is bringing all the actors together in such a way that they are connecting, they're forming partnerships, they're thinking together collectively of what kind of action that they need to take in order to create a future in which those ecological and social conditions are far better than they are today.
So a world citizens movement, activated by a compass of shared reflection and mutual inquiry, seems more in tune with my feelings about what needs to happen today.
If we can engage from global movements like this, we'll be able to take our concerns and our voices to the table to influence key decisions that affect our lives.
This is one way of getting your idea, your experience out there to people, and also learning from people that had experience from various stuff that you're not sure about.
very interesting and concrete action ideas emerged from this meeting here. We try to really put the experiences of grassroots actors at the center.
I think 2015 for us is such a big year. We need to not just keep having meetings to talk about these talks, and we've been criticizing government about that, but we need to take that criticism as civil society as ourselves. I'm saying we need to have one campaign, all of us, and we need to work on it together.
Action 2015 should build on the issues of the grassroots and enable the grassroots to speak for themselves and say, this is what we want, this is the future we want.
The compass provides that foundation, that foundational vision. We've shared our stories at this point. We recognize that the system is broken. And we realize that now is the time to start brainstorming towards some meaningful, concrete action.
So I think Action 2015 gives a fantastic opportunity for the entire Rainbow Coalition, from movements to NGOs to academics to faith groups to public intellectuals to just people, normal people in their everyday living, coming together to raise hell.
Post-2015 is a critical moment. We as civil society have decided that we should really be engaged and ensure that the voices of our citizens, the constituencies we work with, must come onto the forefront of the new framework.
This is not really a closing. This is an opening. It's an opening of our hearts, our minds, and an opening for us to make the commitment that we don't want the world as it has been given to us, that we have to decolonize ourselves.
Action 2015 has a policy agenda which is around the climate summit in Paris in 2015, and of course the UN summit, which will decide on the future of the Millennium Development Goals, the so-called Sustainable Development Goals. So the question is now, how can we use this platform and bring these groups and these different approaches also together to have a broad conversation with the public. The next encounter is already planned. It will take place at the World Social Forum. We will bring this group there, hopefully also together with the Action 2015 campaign, to engage in these conversations with much more people who are not yet on board.